team of scientists have found organic soil that has been frozen to the bottom of the Greenland ice sheet for 2.7 million years.
The relentless spread of the Greenland ice sheet has covered the crater, obscuring it from view for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years.
A 2-kilometer thick shield of ice had sealed Greenland in silence for millennia, until one night, a radar deep in a northern research station picked up something strange. The signal didn't come from the sky or passing aircraft. It came from below, echoing upward through 2 kilometers of ancient ice. At first, the scientists assumed it was solar interference or equipment failure, but the signal repeated, clear, structured, impossible to ignore. When they mapped it, the outline that appeared was enormous and strangely perfect. It didn't look like natural rock. It looked deliberate. Greenland, long thought of as a lifeless frozen shield, suddenly felt different. Beneath the snow was not just soil, but an entire world locked in time, destroyed in a single instant. Every new discovery there seemed to reveal another piece of a puzzle, hinting at a massive clash between the forces of nature and time itself. But this story didn't begin with modern radar. It began decades earlier, in the cold paranoia of the Cold War. In the mid-20th century, a secret American project known as Iceworm aimed to build a vast network of tunnels beneath the Greenland ice sheet. The idea was simple and terrifying. Hide nuclear missiles under the glacier, where they could be moved undetected. Hundreds of young men carved tunnels through the shifting ice, working in suffocating conditions while the glacier slowly crept and twisted around them. During one deep drilling operation, an engineer struck a strange dark layer of soil far below the surface. It wasn't ice, it wasn't rock, it was dirt. He scooped the material into simple glass jars, labeled them, and sent them off to storage. At the time, no one cared. The world was consumed by nuclear tension. Some muddy samples from beneath the ice weren't exactly a priority. So, the jars were pushed into a freezer in Copenhagen, forgotten behind stacks of other samples, and there they sat, untouched for more than 50 years. Decades later, a technician cleaning the storage room stumbled across the old containers. They looked like nothing special, just another batch of ancient sediment. He almost threw them away, but curiosity made him take a closer look. Under the microscope, his hands began to tremble. Inside the dark sludge were not just minerals. There were tiny twigs, seeds, plant fragments, perfectly preserved, as if they had been plucked from a living bush just days before. This was impossible. According to every climate model, Greenland's interior had been nothing but ice and bare rock for millions of years. No forests, no shrubs, no plant life at all. Yet here, in his microscope, were the remains of a green landscape. In that moment, the official climate timeline for Greenland began to collapse. The technician realized he was holding proof that the island had once been covered in vegetation, and far more recently than scientists had ever imagined. Greenland, it seemed, had once been a green paradise. The discovery caused a shockwave through the scientific world, but it was only the first piece of a much larger puzzle. If bushes and trees once grew in the center of the island, then animals must have lived there too. And if animals were there, perhaps humans had followed. But how would they have reached such a place? The answer appeared when aircraft equipped with powerful radar began scanning the island meter by meter. What appeared on their screens left even veteran pilots and geologists speechless. Beneath the smooth white surface lay a gigantic scar across the earth. It was a canyon, so vast that the Grand Canyon itself would look small beside it. The gorge stretched for hundreds of kilometers, its walls rising like frozen cliffs, its floor carved by a river that had once roared through the heart of the island. But the most intriguing thing wasn't its size, it was its direction. The canyon ran from Greenland's center straight to its northern coast, like a natural highway. In the mind's eye, an ancient world began to form. A valley protected from icy winds, where herds of animals might have migrated, and early hunters could have followed. For thousands of years, this corridor could have served as a route connecting lands that are now separated by oceans. And that raised an unsettling question. If this road existed, who walked it? Each new scan revealed strange shapes in the canyon, objects that didn't quite resemble natural rock formations. The deeper scientists looked, the more mysterious the landscape became. Then, just as researchers were absorbing the idea of hidden forests and massive canyons, Greenland revealed another secret, one far more violent. Scientists studying satellite images of the island's northwest noticed a perfect circular depression beneath the Hiawatha Glacier. At first, it seemed like a glitch, but the data repeated itself again and again. Buried under the ice was a colossal crater. It measured 31 kilometers across, large enough to swallow an entire modern city. Parks, skyscrapers, factories, all of it could fit inside the basin and still look small against its walls. Silence filled the lab as the realization spread. This wasn't just a hole in the ground, it was the scar of a planetary-scale impact. For decades, Greenland had been seen as a static slab of ice, but this crater told a different story, a violent one. Imagine the Arctic sky 12,800 years ago, a clear day, quiet, cold, still. Then suddenly, a second sun appears overhead. An enormous iron mass, billions of tons in weight, streaks toward the Earth at unimaginable speed. When it slams into the ice sheet, the energy released is beyond comprehension. In a single moment, the landscape transforms. Forests ignite, ice vaporizes. Shockwaves ripple across continents. For any hunter standing near that canyon, the world would have simply ended. This discovery challenges our idea of steady human progress. We like to imagine civilization rising step by step, generation after generation. But Greenland suggests something far more fragile, a world where development could be wiped out in a single catastrophic instant. Ancient legends speak of fire from the sky and floods that erased entire worlds. For centuries, they were dismissed as myth. But the crater hints that such stories may carry a memory of real events, an impact so powerful it plunged the planet into a sudden, brutal cooling. Greenland may have been the epicenter of a disaster that changed the fate of every living creature on Earth. The evidence didn't stop at the crater itself. When scientists studied the surrounding ice, they found microscopic particles of platinum and diamond dust, materials formed only under extreme pressure and temperature. Nearby were traces of massive wildfires. Something had burned across the land with incredible intensity, and that raised a chilling question. If forests were destroyed, what happened to the people and animals living there? The answer may have begun to surface along the melting edges of the glaciers. As the ice retreated, streams began washing strange objects into view. One archaeologist noticed a glint in the water. Expecting an ordinary stone, he reached down and picked it up. Instead, he found a finely crafted spearhead. It was unmistakably made by human hands. The shape was precise, elegant, unlike anything known from that region. It didn't match any established culture. It was as if someone, highly skilled and technologically capable, had once lived there, struggling to survive as the world around them changed. The discoveries kept coming: ancient DNA from mastodons, evidence of warm forests, fragments of obsidian carried from thousands of kilometers away, strange metals, geometric stone formations, traces of long-distance migration routes. Piece by piece, a new picture of Greenland emerged, not as a frozen wasteland, but as a thriving, interconnected landscape. And then suddenly, it all ended. Geological layers showed that the transition from lush forests to frozen desert happened with astonishing speed. In geological terms, it was almost instantaneous. The cold arrived so abruptly that seeds, leaves, and DNA were preserved in perfect condition, like food placed in a freezer at the height of freshness. Today, that freezer is opening. As the ice melts, Greenland is revealing its secrets. It is like an ancient book whose pages were glued together for thousands of years. Now, slowly, those pages are separating, and the story beneath them is coming into view. But what we are reading is not just history, it is a warning. A reminder of how quickly a thriving world can become a frozen grave. How a single event from space can erase millions of years of evolution. And the story is far from over. Every summer, as glaciers retreat, new artifacts appear. Tiny seeds that remain viable after thousands of years. Mysterious objects that defy classification. Clues that hint at lost migrations, forgotten cultures, and ecosystems that once flourished where ice now rules. Scientists are preparing new expeditions to the island's most remote corners, chasing a haunting question. How many times has civilization come close to extinction, only to rise again? Greenland is no longer silent. Its voice echoes in cracking glaciers and ancient air bubbles, escaping from the permafrost after 12,000 years of imprisonment. That whisper from the past is not just a call to explore, it is a call to listen. Because somewhere in the far north, even now, another drill is biting into the ice, pulling new truths toward the surface. And perhaps tomorrow, something will be found that finally erases the boundary between myth and reality. The greatest discoveries happen where the heart races and the mind refuses to believe what it sees. Let's keep exploring those places together.